to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the AxyToys Dinosaur Battlefield Dino Leader. Big shout out to 5K Toys for sending this over for review. You can check them out. I put a link to their shop in the description below where you can buy this figure and lots of other great stuff. Those guys have been super supportive of the DorkLair. It's not that often that companies are willing to, send product out to smaller channels like mine. So huge thank you to 5K Toys and all the support they've thrown my way. So a look at this new version of the original figure. So the body is mostly the same. The head is even similar, but it's got a new articulation point. So there's a little difference there. And of course, it's got all the new armor bits, weapons, all sorts of just like new stuff going on. And we've got a cloth wired cape here. So overall, a pretty cool update to the original figure. In kind of getting in here for a close-up, we can see that head sculpt here. And so this piece is a separate armor piece that comes off. And then it's got the articulated jaw. My jaw is a little loose. He's got these horns coming off the top. And then right here is where that new articulation point is. The whole neck was just like one piece on the original figure. And yeah, you can see that jaw is very loose. And then we've got these new shoulder pauldrons here. And these are also sort of modular. So I have it set up where this piece pops off here. And then I have one of these holding the cape on over here. And then I have the same setup on the other side. So I'm going to put that back on for now. And we'll kind of take the figure apart a little bit after. But then pop that right back on. And you've got the highly detailed sculpt work on the arms. And just that flesh, that dino flesh, looks great. Excellent paint work. Super detailed everywhere on this thing. Got some new armor pieces here that go onto the arms. And similar belt situation. And then down into the legs and the feet. Just a highly, highly detailed figure with excellent paint applications. The cape is okay. Like, it's wired, which is cool. But, like the paint work and the rips and things, they feel a little cheap to me. But, it's pretty cool that it's wired. I like the fact that the cape's wired. And it's got like a hole in the back, right position, so that you can put the tail through it, which I kind of like that too. Got a little fur piece here under the belt area that hangs down. And yeah, so that's a quick look at the details on this guy. And then here's a look at the overall figures as we get into some comparisons. But first, for height, the top of his spikes come right up to about 8 inches, but his head's at about 7.5, so he's a pretty big boy. Here he is next to a couple All-Stars 5 Mythic Legions figures. On the left is Lady Averona. On the right is a kit bash between two All-Stars 5 figures, Xenothon and Ilgar. Here it is next to the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Pale on the left, and the NECA Ultimate War Duke on the right. A couple Mezco figures. On the left is Conan the Barbarian. On the right is Death Adder. Here's a Marvel Legends Retro Green Goblin and a Valaverse Action Force Swarm Kit Bash. A couple 80s characters. On the left, we have the Ramen Toys Silverhawks Quicksilver. And on the right, we have the NECA Alf. And then here's the new leader on the right next to the previous figure, the Warrior, on the left. So you can get a kind of a look at how those compare. Of course, they're essentially the same figure with a few little tweaks to the new leader, particularly some new armor parts and add-ons. For accessories, I think some people find this part of it a lot of fun, and some people find it frustrating because they have all these little add-on parts that you can use to customize the look of the figure by just taking them and then popping them in, however you want, into these various little holes throughout the figure and just kind of like customizing how you want that armor to look. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I don't have a ton of time today, but I find this part personally to be fun, but I can totally understand where people are, a little bothered by having to do all that with their figure, especially if they start popping off when you're moving the figure around and so on. But I think it's kind of cool. Probably the centerpiece of the accessories is this crazy blade. I don't even know what you would call this thing. Is it an axe? Is it a sword? Right? It's just this crazy blade that has a dino theme to it and some really cool blood splatter and lots of neat little details on this thing. He does have a couple extra pair of hands, so he's got these tighter gripping hands, and then he's got these open gesturing hands, and you can see the detail and the really nice sculpt work on this stuff. He's got a couple other add-on dangly bit type things, a swap belt buckle, a couple other pieces like that right here, and again, they all kind of share that same peg size. He's got another dangly antler type piece, and then this one kind of supposed to hook around his neck or up at his neck as like a necklace type piece. And then the last one, he's got this strap that can go around his shoulder. It's sort of like a pleather material. And then he's got this like crystal blade that's really cool. Even though that other like axe thing is more epic, this one's cooler, and I think I would use this with like legions and stuff. And then now I'll just start popping some things apart so you can see what all is going on with this guy as we get into like the articulation. So we've got that piece. This is one of those little accessory add-ons, those little peg things. And then this piece comes off as well. And another one on this side that I used to peg it on. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to go, but that's how I did it with the cape there. And then he's got these pieces that can come off of his arms right here. And then at that point, I feel like, maybe pull this piece off. And this one, this piece right here, that I don't think I showed it earlier with the accessories, but nice little bone dangly decoration here. And yeah, so this is about how the figure looks with everything off. And as you can see, like, this is a much better kind of articulation in the head than the other figure had up there. And then he's got the articulated jaw. And so he can look up quite a bit. He can look down, side to side. A lot of good motion there. We can take the pauldrons off. And actually, these are, if I remember correctly, these are compatible with Mythic Legions shoulder pegs. So if you wanted to like pop these shoulder pegs onto a Legions figure, that's totally doable. And then getting into the arm articulation, can swing up well past a T pose. The only weird thing is, like, if you look this way and then look this way, it's an oblong joint, or it's an oblong, I guess, shoulder. And so it doesn't twist very well going like this. Like, the shape of it doesn't allow for a lot of twist. So it can be a little tricky bringing it up, and you might get a little paint rub there. There is a twist at the bicep. Single jointed elbow comes up to about 90 degrees there. And then this piece is an overlay piece that can come off if you take the hand off. There's no natural forearm twist. There's a ball hinge at the hand, so you can get pretty much any angle you want. Ball joint in the upper torso, and then there's also one at the waist. So if you combine those together, he can crunch forward, and then you can swing back. Pretty good motion there in the waist and stuff. Side to side as well. Next up, we've got a ball joint at the hip, and he can kick his leg forward a little bit, back a little bit. You can twist it, but it's twisting at the ball joint. It's not twisting at that cut in the thigh. I don't know if mine's just, tight or what, but it's mostly twisting at the ball joint. Single jointed knee with some twists there as well. And like the bracers, this piece overhangs, and then there's an ankle, another ball peg at the ankle here that can allow for a lot of range of motion in the foot. And then the tail is a bendy wire, so you can kind of pose it up a little bit. The wire stops about here, and that just curls up on its own, but you can curl the tail up or have it a little more straight, and then it pegs into the butt area. This is kind of the weirdest one, where it just got this piece where it pegs into the butt. So kind of an interesting assembly there. Overall, I think this is a cool figure. I like the series. I think they've really done well with the sculpt and paint. Pretty good articulation. It's a nice buck. Limitations here with this tail piece in terms of, if you're going to try to like kit bash and take this body and make some other kind of figure. But overall, I like this line. I think it's really cool. Thanks for watching my video. And until next time, may the force be with you.